The sound from the stadium was so loud that Lucy could feel it in her chest. 50,000 people were cheering and crying and hugging each other. Some were throwing flowers onto the field. Others were singing songs at Celebration. But Lucy only had eyes for Kralvex. The massive alien warrior sat in front of her like an obedient student, his glowing eyes fixed on her face. For the first time in 300 years, he looked peaceful. "How do you feel?" Lucy asked him. Kralvex thought about the question. "Different," he said slowly. "Like a weight I did not know I was carrying has been lifted from my shoulders." Lucy nodded. "That's what happens when you stop trying to be scary all the time. It's very tiring to be mean." She walked over to him and sat down on the grass beside his enormous form. Up close, she could see that his crystal skin was not just black, but had tiny flecks of blue and purple and silver in it. It was actually quite pretty. "Can I ask you something?" Lucy said. "Yes," Kralvex replied immediately. "Why did your people start challenging everyone to fights? What were you looking for?" Kralvex was quiet for a long time. When he spoke, his voice was softer than it had ever been before. "We were looking for someone strong enough to lead us. My people are powerful, but we do not know how to make peace. We only know how to make war." "So you kept fighting, hoping someone would beat you?" "Yes, but no one ever did. And after a while, we forgot what we were looking for. We just kept fighting because it was all we knew how to do." Lucy felt sorry for him and all the Vexcar people. "That's very sad. You've been looking for a good leader all this time, and no one ever told you that the best leaders don't need to win fights." She stood up and brushed grass off her white outfit. "Stay here for a minute, okay? I need to talk to some people." "I will stay," Kralvex promised. Lucy walked to the edge of the arena where President Ross and the other leaders were waiting. They all looked amazed and relieved and a little bit confused. "Lucy, you did it," President Ross said, kneeling down to hug her. "You actually did it." "We're not done yet," Lucy said seriously. "Kralvex and his people need help. They've been lost for a long time, and now we need to show them how to be better." Admiral Carter shook her head in wonder. "What do you want?" "Used to do? I want to talk to all the Vexcar ships," Lucy said. "If Kralvex is their best fighter, then what he does matters to all of them. If he decides to be good instead of scary, maybe they will too." Dr. Turner was already setting up communication equipment. Within minutes, Lucy was standing in front of cameras that would broadcast her message to every Vexcar ship in the galaxy. "Hello," she said to the cameras. "My name is Lucy Bennett, and I just met your champion Kralvex. He's very nice when he's not trying to be scary." On ships throughout the galaxy, Vexcar warriors who had spent centuries in conquest stopped what they were doing to listen to the small human child. "Kralvex told me that you've all been looking for a good leader," Lucy continued. "Well, I think you can be your own leaders. You don't need to conquer people to prove you're strong. Strong people protect others and help them." She gestured toward Kralvex, who was still sitting patiently on the grass. "Your champion has decided to learn how to be helpful instead of hurtful. I hope you will too." The response was immediate. Across the galaxy, Vexcar ship commanders began sending messages to Earth. They wanted to know more about this new way of thinking. They wanted to learn how to be protectors instead of conquerors. 6 months later, Lucy sat in her backyard with a very unusual friend. Kralvex had decided to stay on Earth to learn more about human ways of living. He was much too big for most buildings, so he lived in a specially built house in Lucy's neighborhood. Right now, he was lying on the grass while Lucy brushed his crystal skin with a soft cloth. She had discovered that Vexcar liked being petted, just like dogs did. "The Altarian system says thank you again," Kralvex told her. The space pirates have not bothered them since my people started protecting their trade routes. Lucy smiled. The Veskar had become the galaxy's peacekeepers. Their strength and fighting skills made them perfect for stopping bullies and protecting weaker species. "How do you like your new job?" Lucy asked. "I like it very much," Kralvex said. "Protecting others feels much better than conquering them. And I have learned something interesting." "What's that?" "It is much easier to make friends when you are not trying to kill them." Lucy laughed. "That's a very smart observation." Dr. Bennett came out of the house carrying 2 glasses of lemonade and a large bowl of the special fruit juice that Vexcar drank. "Lucy, you have a visitor." A young Vexcar, about half the size of Kralvex, walked into the backyard. Lucy had been teaching the younger Vexcar how to play games and make friends with other species. "Hello, Teacher Lucy," the young Vexcar said. "I brought you something." He handed her a small crystal that sparkled with rainbow colors. "I made this for you. It will shine forever, just like your kindness." Lucy hugged the crystal to her chest. "Thank you. That's the nicest present anyone has ever given me." As the sun set over Earth, Lucy sat between her 2 alien friends and thought about how much the galaxy had changed. The Vexcar were no longer feared monsters. They were friends and protectors. Other aggressive species had started asking humans for help with their problems too. "Lucy," Kralvex said thoughtfully, "what made you think that kindness would work when everyone else tried?" "Fighting?" Lucy considered the question seriously. "I guess it's because fighting only creates more fighting. But kindness creates more kindness, and most mean creatures are just scared or lonely. They act bad because they don't know how to ask for help." She looked up at the stars beginning to appear in the evening sky. "Besides, everyone deserves a chance to be better. Even scary monsters need someone to believe in them." Kralvex gently patted Lucy's head with one enormous finger. "You are very wise for such a small human." "I'm not wise," Lucy said with a grin. "I just know that everyone feels better when they're loved instead of feared." And somewhere in the vast galaxy above them, on hundreds of worlds that had once lived in terror of the Vexcar, families were going to sleep safely, knowing that the former monsters had become their guardians. All because one small girl understood that the biggest bullies just needed someone to teach them how to sit. Lucy walked slowly across the green grass. Each step felt important, like she was walking toward the most important moment in the history of the world. Behind her, 50,000 people in the stadium watched without making a sound. Above Earth, alien ships from 100 different worlds had come to see what would happen. Kralvex stood perfectly still in the center of the arena. His forearms hung at his sides, and his crystal skin caught the sunlight like a dark rainbow. He was 12 feet tall, but from where Lucy stood, he looked even bigger. She had to tilt her head back to see his face. Lucy stopped when she was 10 feet away from him. This was close enough to show she was not afraid, but far enough away that he would not feel trapped. She had learned this from working with nervous dogs at the animal shelter. Kralvex tilted his head just like in the videos. Lucy almost smiled. Dr. Turner had been right about the head. Tilt meaning confusion. The alien warrior had fought for 300 years. He had faced creatures made of living rock, beings that could control fire with their minds, and warriors with weapons that could cut through planets. But he had never faced a small human child who looked at him like he was a puppy that had chewed up the furniture. "Hello," Lucy said in a clear, calm voice. "My name is Lucy Bennett. What's your name?" Kralvex blinked. In all his years of combat, no opponent had ever asked his name. They usually roared or screamed or shot weapons at him. This was new and strange. "I am Kralvex," he said. His voice was deep and rough, like rocks falling down a mountain. "I am the Bone Render. I am Death's shadow." I am the... Those are silly names, Lucy interrupted. Kralvex is a nice name. Why do you let people call you mean things? The giant alien stopped talking. No one had ever called his title silly before. Most creatures trembled when they heard those names. Lucy crossed her arms and looked up at him with the expression she used when the neighbor's dog tried to dig holes in her mom's garden. You've been fighting a lot of people, haven't you? Kralvex nodded slowly. This conversation was not going the way these meetings usually went. That must be very tiring, Lucy continued. Fighting all the time and never getting to make friends. Don't you get lonely? Something strange happened in Kralvex's chest. It was a feeling he had not experienced in so long that he had forgotten what to call it. Humans would have called it sadness, but Vexkar did not have a word for that emotion. I do not get lonely, he said, but his voice was quieter than before. I am a warrior. Warriors do not have friends. That's not true, Lucy said. My dad was a soldier before I was born, and he has lots of friends. Warriors can have friends too. You just have to learn how to be nice. Kralvex took a step forward. Lucy did not move backward. She stood her ground and kept looking directly into his glowing eyes. I have come here to fight your champion, Kralvex said. Where is your warrior? I'm the champion, Lucy said simply. You? Kralvex looked confused again. But you are just a small child. You have no weapons, no armor. How can you fight me? I'm not going to fight you, Lucy said. Fighting is dumb. It doesn't solve anything, and someone always gets hurt. But that is how challenges work, Kralvex protested. I challenge your species. You send a champion. We fight. I win. Your people serve my people. Lucy shook her head. That's a stupid rule. Who made that rule? Kralvex opened his mouth to answer, then closed it again. He realized he did not know who had made the rule. It was just the way things had always been done. The strong rule the weak, he said finally. That is the law of the universe. No, it's not, Lucy said firmly. The smart take care of everyone else. That's how families work. That's how communities work. That's how the galaxy should work too. She took a step closer to him. Kralvex felt an urge to step backward, which was very strange. He had never wanted to back away from anything before. You're very big and strong, Lucy continued. You could help protect people instead of hurting them. You could be a hero instead of a monster. I am not a monster, Kralvex said, and there was something almost hurt in his voice. Then stop acting like one, Lucy replied. The words hung in the air between them. All around the stadium, people held their breath. This was not going like any Vexkar challenge in history. Kralvex felt something breaking inside his mind. For 300 years, he had defined himself by his victories. In combat, he was the undefeated champion. He was the bone render. He was fear made flesh, but this small human child was looking at him like none of it mattered. She was looking at him like he could be better. I do not know how to be anything else, he admitted quietly. I can teach you, Lucy said. But first, you have to want to learn. Do you want to learn how to be good instead of scary? Kralvex stared down at her. 300 years of programming told him to kill this impudent child and claim his victory. But something deeper, something that had been buried under centuries of violence, whispered that maybe there was another way. Double quotes, he began, then stopped. He had never said what he was about to say before. I think I would like that. Lucy smiled, and her smile was brighter than the stadium lights. Good. Now, the first lesson is about listening. When someone is in charge, you listen to them. I'm in charge right now, okay? Kralvex felt his head nodding before he realized he was doing it. Good, Lucy said again. Now, you've been standing this whole time, and that's not polite when you're talking to someone. You should sit down." She pointed at the ground in front of her with the same authority she had used on the German Shepherd during training. "Sit," she said clearly. Kralvex looked down at the small finger pointing at the grass. Every instinct he had told him that he was a mighty warrior who did not take orders from anyone. But there was something in this child's voice, something that spoke to a part of his brain that was older than his training, older than his warrior culture, older than his species' history of conquest. Very slowly, Kralvex lowered himself to the ground. His 4 arms folded in front of him, and he sat like a student waiting for his teacher. The stadium erupted in noise as 50,000 people cheered and cried and celebrated. But Lucy barely heard them. She was focused on the giant alien sitting in front of her, looking up at her with eyes that were no longer sad and lonely. "Good boy," she said, and reached out to pat one of his crystal-covered hands. "You're learning already." Lucy Bennett sat in the big chair and swung her legs back and forth. The chair was too big for her, and her feet did not touch the floor. All around her, important adults were talking in worried voices. "Are you really sure about this, sweetheart?" her mother asked for the 10th time. Lucy nodded. She had been watching the alien on TV for 2 days now. The news people called him scary names like Bone Render and Death Walker. But Lucy just saw a big creature that did not know how to behave properly. "He's like Bruno at the dog park," Lucy explained to the room full of adults. "Bruno is the biggest dog there, and he acts mean to all the other dogs. But when Mrs. Patterson tells him to sit, he sits. He just needs someone to be the boss." Dr. Turner was writing notes as fast as he could. "Lucy, what else do you notice about Kralvex when you watch him fight?" Lucy thought about it carefully. "He tilts his head when he's confused. Dogs do that too. And he always waits for the other animal to attack first. That means he doesn't really want to fight. He's just doing it because no one told him to stop." President Ross knelt down next to Lucy's chair. "Lucy, do you understand how dangerous this is? This alien has hurt a lot of people." "I know," Lucy said seriously. "But that's because everyone tries to fight him. You don't fight a big dog when it's being bad. You just tell it no and make it sit down." Colonel Brooks was pacing around the room. He stopped and looked at Lucy. "What if he doesn't listen to you? What if he attacks?" Lucy shrugged. "Then I guess everyone was right, and he really is just a mean monster. But I don't think he is. I think he's just lonely and confused." Dr. Bennett put her hand on her daughter's shoulder. "Lucy, you don't have to do this. We can find another way." "No, you can't," Lucy said simply. "I watched all the videos. Every time someone tries to fight him, they lose. But no one ever tried to be nice to him. No one ever tried to teach him how to act better." Admiral Carter had been quiet for a long time. Now she spoke up. "Lucy, if you do this, there will be millions of people watching. People all over Earth and all over the galaxy. Are you okay with that?" Lucy nodded. "If it works, maybe other mean aliens will see it too. Maybe they'll learn that fighting is dumb." The next day, Lucy went to a special training center. Not for fighting, but for something much stranger. Animal trainers came to teach her how to use her voice and body to show dominance. They brought big dogs and showed her how to make them obey without being mean to them. "The secret is confidence," said Mrs. Rodriguez, who trained police dogs. "You have to believe you are in charge. Animals can tell if you're scared or unsure." Lucy practiced with a German Shepherd that was almost as big as she was. "Sit," she said in a firm voice. The dog sat immediately. "Good boy," she said, and gave him a treat. "Now try it without the treat," Mrs. Rodriguez said. Lucy looked at the dog and pointed to the ground. "Sit." The dog sat. Lucy smiled and patted his head. "You don't need treats when they know you're the boss. She explained to the watching adults. Dr. Turner was amazed. She has natural authority. The dogs respond to her immediately. Meanwhile, in space above Earth, Kralvex prepared for another victory. He stood in his ship and looked down at the blue planet. It was a pretty world, much prettier than most places he had conquered. The humans confused him a little. They were small and weak, but their ships were clever. Their weapons were not the strongest, but they used them in smart ways. Still, they would fall just like all the others. Kralvex had been fighting for so long that he barely remembered his home world. All he knew was challenge and combat and victory. Sometimes, in quiet moments, he wondered if there was more to existence than endless battles. But those thoughts never lasted long. Fighting was what he was good at. Fighting was what he knew. Back on Earth, Lucy spent her second day of training learning about Vexcar body language. Dr. Turner showed her videos and explained what different movements meant. When he tilts his head like this, he's confused. Dr. Turner said, when his claws extend, he's ready to attack. When he leans forward, he's trying to look scary. Lucy watched carefully. He does the scary lean a lot, but look at his eyes. They don't look mean, they look sad. Dr. Turner paused the video and looked where Lucy was pointing. She was right. In all the close-up shots of Kralvex, his eyes did look sad, tired and sad and lonely. Maybe fighting is the only way he knows how to talk to people, Lucy said. On the morning of the third day, Lucy ate breakfast with her parents. Her dad, who was usually at work, had stayed home to be with them. Her mom made pancakes, which were Lucy's favorite. I'm proud of you, her dad said. You're braver than any soldier. I'm not brave, Lucy said. I'm just not scared of animals. Animals are nice when you treat them right. After breakfast, Lucy put on the special outfit they had made for her. It was white and simple, with no decorations or symbols. The experts said it would make her look peaceful and non-threatening. The whole world was watching when Lucy and her parents rode to the big stadium. Millions of people lined the streets, holding signs that said, "Good luck, Lucy," and "Save us, Lucy." Some people were crying. Others were praying. In the stadium, Lucy sat with her mom and dad in a special room with big windows. She could see the arena where she would meet Kralvex. It was a large circle with nothing in it except grass and flowers. President Ross came to see them before the meeting. Lucy, you can change your mind. No one will think less of you. Lucy shook her head. It's going to be okay. You'll see. At exactly noon, a bright light appeared in the center of the arena. When it faded, Kralvex stood there. He was even bigger than Lucy had expected, and his crystal skin sparkled in the sunlight. His forearms hung at his sides, and his claws looked like sharp metal. The stadium was completely silent. 50,000 people held their breath. Lucy hugged her parents and walked toward the arena. She felt nervous for the first time, but not scared. Nervous was okay. Even the best dog trainers got nervous sometimes. As she walked across the grass toward the giant alien warrior, Lucy remembered something. Her grandmother used to say, "Honey, the biggest bullies are usually just scared little kids inside. You just have to help them remember how to be nice." Kralvex watched the small human approach. This was not what he had expected. Where was the warrior? Where were the weapons and armor? Why was this tiny creature walking toward him like she was going to pet a cat? For the first time in 300 years of fighting, Kralvex did not know what to do. President Helen Ross had not slept in 2 days. She sat at the big table in the White House with the most important people on Earth. Everyone looked tired and scared. General Chris Murphy put a tablet on the table. The screen showed videos of Kralvex fighting other aliens. "Watch this," he said in a quiet voice. The video started with a huge alien that looked like a walking tree. It had 6 arms and was covered in thick bark. The alien swung a massive club at Kral Vex, but the Vex car warrior simply disappeared. The club went through empty air. Then Kral Vex appeared behind the tree alien, and his claws went through its back. The tree alien fell down and did not get up. The Corlin champion lasted 15 seconds, General Murphy said. He was 8 feet tall and weighed 600 pounds. The next video showed a metal-covered alien with laser weapons built into its arms. It fired beams of light at Kral Vex as fast as it could. The Vex car walked through every shot like they were not there. When he reached the metal alien, one swipe of his claws cut it in half. The Mechanist champion lasted 31 seconds. The general continued. Admiral Karen Stone spoke up from across the table. We have studied every fight Kral Vex has had for the last 50 years. He has fought large aliens, small aliens, fast aliens, strong aliens, smart aliens. He has fought creatures with poison, aliens with energy shields, and warriors with weapons we do not understand. They all lost. Dr. Alex Turner adjusted his glasses and looked at his notes. He was Earth's best expert on alien life. The Vex car are perfect fighters, he said. They have 2 nervous systems. One thinks and one reacts. When you attack them, their body moves to defend before their brain even knows what is happening. Their crystal skin can stop bullets and laser beams. Their 4 arms let them attack and defend at the same time. What about their weaknesses? President Ross asked. Dr. Turner shook his head. In 300 years of fighting, no one has found any. The room went quiet. Outside the windows, they could see people walking on the streets of Washington. Most of them were trying to act normal, but everyone knew what was happening. The news was full of stories about the Vex car. Some people were leaving the cities. Others were buying guns, even though guns would not help against creatures that could walk through walls. Lieutenant Sam Carter raised his hand. He was young and new to this kind of meeting. Can I say something? Admiral Stone nodded. Sam was her nephew, and she knew he was smart. I have been watching all the fight videos too, Sam said. But I noticed something weird. Kral Vex always waits for the other fighter to attack first. He never starts the fight. General Murphy frowned. So what? Many fighters wait for their enemy to make the first move. But it's more than that, Sam continued. He pulled up a video on his tablet. Look at this fight with the Thorian champion. See how Kral Vex tilts his head? He does that in every fight, right before his enemy attacks. And here, when the Zephyrian tried to run away, Kral Vex did not chase him right away. He waited until the alien turned around and tried to fight. Again, Dr. Turner leaned forward. What are you thinking, Lieutenant? I think the Vex car follow rules, Sam said. Not just fighting rules, but something deeper. Like they have to behave in certain ways. President Ross looked around the table. Even if that's true, how does it help us? We still need someone to fight him. That was the problem no one could solve. Earth's best soldiers were good, but they were not good enough. Colonel Ryan Brooks commanded the Special Forces. His soldiers could do amazing things, but they were still just human. They could not walk through walls or move faster than eyes could follow. Maybe we should surrender, said Secretary of Defense Paula Kim. If we give up now, maybe they will treat us better than if we fight and lose. No, President Ross said firmly. I will not give up without trying. There has to be something we can do. Dr. Amy Bennett had been quiet during the whole meeting. She was a marine biologist, and most of the time she studied fish and whales. She was only here because the president wanted scientists from every field to look at the problem. My daughter has been watching the videos too, Dr. Bennett said suddenly. Everyone looked at her. General Murphy seemed annoyed. Your daughter? Lucy is 8 years old, Dr. Bennett explained. She loves animals, and she has been watching the Vex car videos on the news. She says something interesting about them. What does an 8-year-old know about galactic warfare? Colonel Brooks asked. Dr. Bennett looked embarrassed, but she continued. Lucy says Kralvex reminds her of the big dogs at the dog park. She says he acts like a dog that is trying to be the boss, but does not know how. The room was quiet again, but this time it felt different. Dr. Turner was staring at Dr. Bennett with wide eyes. What exactly did your daughter say? Dr. Turner asked. She said the Vex car are like pack animals. She said Kralvex is waiting for someone to tell him what to do, but no one ever does. So he keeps fighting because that is the only thing he knows. Dr. Turner stood up quickly and walked to the big screen. He pulled up videos of wolves hunting. Pack animals have leaders called alphas. The alpha does not have to be the biggest or strongest. The alpha just has to act like the leader. He switched to a video of dogs at a training school. When you train a dog, you do not fight it. You show it that you are in charge. You use your voice and your body language. President Ross felt something, like hope for the first time in days. Are you saying the Vex car might respond to human authority? I am saying that maybe we have been thinking about this wrong, Dr. Turner replied. Maybe this is not about fighting. Maybe it is about showing dominance. General Murphy shook his head. That is crazy. You want to send someone to stare down a 12-foot killer alien? It is better than sending someone to die in a fight they cannot win. Dr. Turner said. Colonel Brooks was looking at the Wolf videos. Even if this theory is right, who could do it? It would take someone with incredible courage and natural authority. Dr. Bennett spoke very quietly. Lucy volunteers. The room exploded with voices. Everyone was talking at once, saying it was impossible and dangerous and insane. President Ross held up her hand for silence. Dr. Bennett, you cannot be serious, she said. Lucy is serious, Dr. Bennett replied. She says if Kralvex is like a big dog with no training, then someone needs to train him. She says she has trained lots of dogs, and the secret is not being afraid. Admiral Stone looked pale. We cannot send a child to face that monster. We cannot send anyone else either, Dr. Bennett said. Everyone else who tries will think like a warrior. Lucy thinks like someone who works with animals every day. The debate went on for hours, but in the end, they all knew the truth. Every human warrior who faced Kralvex would die. But maybe, just maybe, a child who understood animals might succeed. Where warriors had failed. It was the most desperate plan in human history. But it was the only plan they had. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his ship and watched the stars. He had seen many things in his 20 years of space travel, but today felt different. Today felt scary. The communication screen lit up with a bright flash. Admiral. Lisa Carter's face appeared, and Jake could see the worry in her eyes. She looked older than the last time they had talked, just 3 weeks ago. Jake, we need you to come home right now, she said. Her voice was quiet and serious. Something bad is happening near Earth. Jake felt his stomach drop. Earth was his home. His sister lived there with her 2 children. His parents were buried in the old cemetery outside Denver. What kind of something? Bad? He asked. The Vex car are here, Admiral Carter said. The words made everyone on the bridge stop what they were doing. Jake heard someone behind him whisper a curse word. Everyone in the galaxy knew about the Vex car. They were 12 feet tall and had 4 arms with claws that could cut through metal like paper. Their skin looked like dark crystal, and they could walk through walls when they wanted to. But the worst thing about them was simple. They never lost a fight. For 50 years, the Vex car had traveled from planet to planet. They would arrive in their big black ships and make the same offer every time. Send your best fighter to face our champion. If you win, we leave you alone forever. If you lose, you belong to us now. No one had ever won. Jake remembered the videos from the Altarian system. The Altarians were big, strong people who could lift a car with one hand. Their champion had lasted almost 10 minutes against the Vex car. Warrior. It was the longest fight anyone had ever seen. Then the Vex car had walked through his sword and torn him apart with those terrible claws. After that, 3 billion Altarians became slaves. Their weapons were taken away. Their ships were destroyed. Now they worked in mines and factories, making things for their new masters. Which champion did they send? Jake asked, though he was afraid to hear the answer. Krall Vex the Bone Render. Admiral Carter, said. Jake closed his eyes. Krall Vex was the worst of all the Vex car champions. He had fought for 300 years and had never been hurt, not even once. The other aliens in the galaxy told stories about him. They said he moved like smoke and struck like lightning. They said he enjoyed the fear in his enemies' eyes before. He killed them. How long do we have? Jake asked. 3 days, Admiral Carter replied. They want an answer in 3 days, or they start attacking our cities. Jake's ship, the Horizon's Edge, was fast. It would take 2 days to reach Earth from where they were now. That left 1 day to find someone brave enough or stupid enough to fight a monster that had never lost. I'm coming home, Jake told the Admiral. Then he turned to his crew. Set course for Earth. Maximum speed. The next 2 days passed like a bad dream. Jake tried to think of anyone who might have a chance against Krall Vex. The best human fighters were good, but they were still just human. Humans were smaller than most alien species. They were not as strong as the Gorlan people, or as fast as the Sylvani. They could not breathe underwater like the Aquans, or see in the dark like the Shadows. What humans were good at was thinking, and working together. But this fight would be one person against one Vex car. No thinking would help when those claws came down. Jake called his sister Mary while the ship traveled through space. She lived in New York with her husband and their 8-year-old daughter, Lucy. Jake had not seen them in 6 months because of his work. Are you scared? He asked Mary. Yes, she said honestly. But Lucy keeps saying everything will be okay. She's been watching the news about the Vex car, and she says they remind her of the big dogs at the park. Jake almost smiled at that. Lucy was always saying funny things about animals. She loved dogs and cats and birds. She wanted to be a veterinarian when she grew up. Only a child would compare the galaxy's most feared warriors to dogs at a park. Keep her safe, Jake told his sister. I will, Mary promised. When the Horizon's Edge finally reached Earth, Jake could see the Vex car ships waiting near the moon. They were huge and black and covered with spikes. They looked like the ships of people who enjoyed war too much. Jake went down to Earth and straight to the military headquarters. Inside, he found chaos. Generals and admirals were arguing about what to do. Some wanted to send their best soldier. Others wanted to run away to another star system. A few suggested surrendering right away to save lives. No one had a good answer, because there was no good answer. The Vex car were too strong, too fast, too experienced. Any human who fought Krall Vex would die, and then Earth would fall just like all the other worlds. Jake sat down and put his head in his hands. In his 20 years of space travel, he had seen beautiful things and terrible things. He had fought pirates and explored new worlds. But he had never felt as helpless as he did right now. Somewhere on Earth, in 3 billion homes, families were holding each other and wondering if they would be free tomorrow, or if they would become slaves to crystal-skinned monsters from the dark between the stars.